This is Michigan's retirement coach, Mike Douglas.
And I'm Heather Branch, here with Mike to ask about his ideas on the things you can be working on now to better prepare for your financial future as you get closer to retirement. First and foremost, you want to make sure that you've got your money in order. That's what Mike and his team do every single day. MichigansRetirementCoach.com is where you can start the conversation with Mike about your plan for these next years ahead. Again, it's MichigansRetirementCoach.com. So did you read this one stat? I wanted to ask you about this whole article about all the bad choices we make when we inherit any kind of money. Apparently, this one study shows when somebody inherits money, they buy a new car within 19 days. Not even a month goes by.
It's probably just because it takes them 18 days to find the one they want. I'm sure they started shopping at day one.
Right. This whole idea about when we inherit money and the bad choices we make with it, you, dear listener, might be thinking to yourself, oh, no, if I were to inherit money, I would be smart and I would, first things first, pay off my debt. And that's the problem. People immediately start spending the money, Mike. Whether or not you get $5,000, $50,000, $500,000, research show that money will be gone in 2 to 4 years' time. Mm-hmm. $5,000, okay, I can kind of understand that. But when you're looking at something like $50,000 to $500,000, to have spent it all within 2 to 4 years' time, Mr. Certified Financial Planner, Mr. Financial Advisor, certainly we can be doing better. So let's speak to somebody that this has happened to or may be happening to. They come into an inheritance and the better choices you can help folks make.
Yeah, so it's interesting when you come across large sums of money. So, from the article that we're referencing, there was some great points where it said that basically the first thing you do is what are good financial decisions. You pay off your debt, your home, your credit cards, anything else. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden it goes into pleasure spending. Because again, paying off debts is a great thing. Being debt free is a beautiful thing. And so to say I've got this money and I can eliminate high interest debt, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not always the best thing. And stay with me on that, because I'm not saying you should keep high interest. But when you inherit a large sum of money, it has the ability to generate revenue that you're not used to.
Right.
If you've been an employee your whole life earning $70,000, $80,000, $100,000, whatever the number is, and then you inherit $1 million. What's interesting is if you just keep going to work and doing your thing and you invest that $1 million and it can earn you 7 or 8%. You earn $80,000 and the money earns you $80,000.
Yep.
So over the course of 1 year, your interest can probably pay off your debts if you're willing to let it work. And the difference is you still have the $1 million.
Right. Protect the principal, spend the difference.
Yes, absolutely. And so that's a powerful tool. And then if you can pay things off quickly. So that's a huge one. But it's interesting that it goes on to say that as soon as they get past those things, it becomes, well, there's that vacation I've always wanted that we deserve.
Yeah.
There's the newer kitchen I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And you start finding ways to nickel and dime yourself, but it's not nickels and dimes. It's tens and twenties of thousands of dollars.
Right.
So it really disappears quickly. And then, you go, even what seems like good things, it talks about, someone has these great ideas. Well, I'm going to start this restaurant and you should be an investor. And you're thinking, oh, good. Now I have money to make these good investments. And it turns out that you don't understand that like 90% of restaurants fail within the first 3 years.
Do not invest in a restaurant.
No.
It is like one of the worst things. It's like
there's a reason
car.
Well, the Chick-fil-A model, right? It's very interesting. They will not allow you to be a silent or angel investor.
Huh.
The investor has to be the manager of the restaurant. And so you have to
got to have skin in the game. Yeah.
The restaurants, skin in the game, because they don't want that model. Because investment money will just walk away if things go bad.
Yep.
They want someone who lives and breathes it. And that's what it's reflected in the service and in the experience.
Got it.
So it's a very powerful tool. When you're dealing with receiving or giving inheritances, large sums of money, there needs to be very intentional strategy on how you can maximize this thing and don't let it get away from you.
Yeah.
And if you're in a position where you say, hey, you know what, this is a newer thing to me, or I'm coming across this money and I'm afraid that I'm gonna make the wrong mistake. Because what you're saying, Mike, what you're saying, Heather, sounds like the right thing to do, pay off these debts, but you're saying that maybe I should consider using the money to make money and use the interest to pay it off. I don't know how to do that. Give us a call, 616-512-2127. We'll talk it through and help you understand the options you have available, because it's not as black and white as eliminate debt and then go from here. Because you can eliminate debt, But if you pay off a $300,000 home and you pay off $100,000 of credit card and you say, well, I'd also like my kid's student loan to be taken care of. Next thing you know, you have $300,000 or $400,000 left and you can't earn 80 grand anymore.
Right.
You know, it's interesting. I've got this exact scenario that's played out a couple times in front of us.
Okay.
We even have some people who have been lottery winners as clients.
Really?
And I'm not saying like, hey, if you want to win the lottery, become a client. But
that's still, that's a perfect example of waking up one morning and was it a significant amount of money? Because you can win like $5,000 in the lottery.
Yeah. I have two different people who have won $1 million.
Really?
And that's a big number.
That's a big number.
And one guy who came in, he was already a client. He was already wealthy. I mean, I say, well, he had a couple $1 million. He'd done very well.
Got it.
He had built a business, sold a business, and he's sitting on a couple $1 million. And then him and a buddy just decided to buy tickets, right? They didn't pool them, but he bought his own and he won $1 million. And so he came in and his brain was already in a certain place. And he said, I just want the interest, Mike. So go get me something kind of basic, he said, if you can pull me $40,000 to $50,000 a year out of this thing, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And so we invested it in a pretty conservative blend. And he's able to pull off 40, 50, sometimes 60 or $70,000 because that's the interest it earns.
Yeah.
And never touch the $1 million.
That's great.
So that's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
But it's a symptom of somebody who is already
He's already in that mindset.
Strong.
He's already thinking the correct way to think about this stuff. This isn't a person who had no financial education at all.
Yeah, well, he already sold a company and already got a lump sum before, and so he's seen this movie.
Got it.
When you sell your, so he's been through it, and he goes, no, I can't take this, because he got about $1.5 million on his business, and he says, I can't just take this and burn through it in the first 30 days, or I can't go buy new cars every 19 days.
Okay,
and so that's what he did. The other side, I have someone who came through, and they were not a client. They were close friends with one of my clients.
Okay.
And he calls my client and says, hey, I got to tell you something. I'm going into Lansing because I won $1 million in this lottery. And my client says, don't do anything. Please call Mike. Please call my guy. Yeah. And let's get a plan together for you.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, I'm going to do that. Well, then he says, I'm going to tell Mike you're going to call. So my client calls me and says, hey, he's going to be giving you a shout, get together, help him understand something because he's never been in this position before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hear from this guy for 3 or 4 weeks. And then finally he calls about a month later. And as we sit down, I said, all right. So I said, I heard from my client that this is where you are.
Okay.
What is your plan? And he says, well, out of the $1 million, if you take the lump sum, I got about $640,000. And I said, okay. And he goes, so what we did was, and when I hear what we did was.
Right. You're already, you're like, oh no.
Yeah. And so he had gone through and he had done all the right things, right? I mean, again, what seems like the right things.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no.
So
what he thought were the right things.
Right. That's why I should have, on the radio, it's hard to air quote, right? I should have said all the right things, but he went and he paid off his credit card debt. They had about $70,000 of credit card debt.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is high interest. I don't want high interest debt. So I'm going to pay this off. So he paid off $70,000. He did pay off their mortgage of about $200,000. They had always dreamt of having an RV. They have a young son and they wanted to travel and do some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but he says, the rule, you don't finance toys. So he paid cash. And then he also, so he literally in the course of a month, $200,000 towards a mortgage, $70,000 towards credit card debt, $50,000 towards an RV. And then he was looking into building a barn to store the RV.
Okay.
And we're going down the list and we're like, this is half the money.
I was about to say, he's already, before he builds the barn, he's spent half the money after taxes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he's going through it and just burning through it. And he goes, so what can you do with the rest? And I say, well, here's the problem. If we had just started with the $640,000, and again, they were a little bit on the younger side, 45 to 50.
Okay.
And so as a result, they didn't need this money anytime soon because they weren't retiring.
Right.
I said, if we had put this money and pursued, and this is back in 2017, 2018, right around there.
Okay.
So when the market was having really nice years.
Yeah.
Said if we had just put it in the S&P fund, it would have earned 15, 20%, which is about $100,000. It could have paid off your credit card and some in, 9 months. And then you would still had the $640,000. And then in 2 to 3 years, we could have paid off your mortgage. So all these things, but you could have done it while keeping the base intact. He's just never been in that experience. So we had to help him get there.
Okay.
It's a whole different model when you're building out these type of plans.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, whether you're the one who is doing that and kind of we were talking about these large lump sums, but also what happens if you're going to inherit money? What happens if you're going to be leaving money to your kids or grandkids and you want to set up a plan that says, hey, if I'm the gifter and I've got someone who's going to be receiving these funds, then I need to make a plan that makes more sense. So it can't be blown through,
Right.
maybe through a trust or different estate planning tools.
Yeah.
You need a custom legacy plan, a legacy plan that goes through and says, here's how the money passes on. Everything that we've worked for, saved for, and inherit, we don't want to go in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a custom legacy plan that is built for you. So one of the things we talk about all the time, if people want to come in and sit down and have that built out for them, a comprehensive plan that maps out their estate, maps out their legacy, how money gets left, or what you do when you know money is coming in, we will build that for you. It's a complimentary legacy plan that is built for your family. Our number is 616-512-2127. Give us a call. We'll gladly walk through and help you understand where your legacy and your gifting and your inheriting, all that comes together to keep it in your family, to make the right decisions, not the wrong decisions, and keep it away from the government the best you can. 616-512-2127.
You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's how you can get this content that we're posting and putting out every week. Just search Michigan's Retirement Coach on YouTube. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there to head to our website, which is, again, michigansretirementcoach.com.
Thanks for listening to Michigan's Retirement Coach with Mike Douglas. To learn more, visit michigansretirementcoach.com.
Michael Douglas is an investment advisor representative of Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Michael Douglas is licensed in your state, please call 517-323-7526. Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Michael B. Douglas, NPN number 9650939.